Hello and welcome to the next video in our series, exploring the map of Runterra. At this point we've gone through the jungles of Ixtal, over the deserts of Shurima, climbed to the peaks of Targon, and set sail to the port city of Bilgewater. Now it's time we go where no one should, the Shadow Isles. The Shadow Isles are located here on the right side of the map. This cursed land was once home to a noble enlightened civilization known to its allies and emissaries as the Blessed Isles. However, more than 1,000 years ago, an unprecedented magical cataclysm left the barrier between the material and the spirit realm in tatters, effectively merging the two, and dooming all living things in an instant. Now, a malevolent black mist permanently shrouds the Isles, and the earth itself is tainted by dark sorcery. Mortals who dare to venture to these dismal shores will slowly have their life force stolen away from them, which in turn attracts the insatiable restless spirits of the dead. Those who perish within the mists are condemned to haunt this nightmarish place for eternity. Worse still, the power of the Shadow Isles appears to wax stronger with every passing year, allowing the most powerful specters to roam farther and farther across Runeterra. Now we will look at the champions of the Shadow Isles, those you should hope not to come across should you ever find yourself there. Again, this video is focused more on the Shadow Isles itself and not its champions, so we'll have separate videos going over each champion. This is going to just touch on each one of them. ISLES, the Spider Queen. ISLES is a deadly predator who dwells in a shuttered, lightless place deep within the oldest city of Noxus. She was once the mistress of a powerful noble house until the bite of a vile spider god transformed her into something utterly inhuman, yet still beautiful, an arachnoid creature drawing unsuspecting prey into her web. ISLES now feeds upon the naive and the faithless, and there are few who can resist her seductions. Gwen, the Hollowed Seamstress. A former doll transformed and brought to life by magic, Gwen yields the very tools that once created her. She carries the weight of her maker's love with every step, taking nothing for granted. At her command is the Hollowed Mist, an ancient and protective magic that has blessed Gwen's scissors, needles, and sewing thread. So much is new to her, but Gwen remains joyfully determined to fight for the good that survives in a broken world. Hecarim, the Shadow of War. Hecarim is a spectral fusion of man and beast, cursed to ride down the souls of the living for all eternity. When the Blessed Isles fell into shadow, this proud knight was undone by the destructive energies of the Rune Nation, along with his cavalry and their mounts. Now, whenever the Black Mist reaches out across Runterra, he leads their devastating charge, reveling in the slaughter and crushing foes beneath his armored hooves. Callista, the Spear of Vengeance. An undying specter of wrath and retribution, Callista is an armored nightmare summoned from the Shadow Isles to hunt deceivers and traitors. The betrayed may cry out in blood to be avenged, but Callista only answers those willing to pay with their very souls. Those who become the focus of Callista's wrath should make their final peace, for any pact sealed with this grim hunter can only be ended by the cold, piercing fire of her soul spears. Karthus, the Death Singer. The harbinger of oblivion, Karthus is an undying spirit whose haunted songs are a prelude to the horror of his nightmarish appearance. The living fear the eternity of undeath, but Karthus sees only beauty and purity in its embrace, a perfect union of life and death. Maokai, the Twisted Treant. Maokai is a rageful, towering treant who fights the unnatural horrors of the Shadow Isles. He was twisted into a force of vengeance after a magical cataclysm destroyed his home, surviving undeath only through the waters of life infused with his heartwood. Once a peaceful nature spirit, Maokai now furiously battles to banish the scourge of unlife from the Shadow Isles and restore his home to its former beauty. Thresh, the Chain Warden. Sadistic and cunning, Thresh is an ambitious and restless spirit of the Shadow Isles. Once the custodian of countless arcane secrets, he was undone by a power greater than life or death, and now sustains himself by tormenting and breaking others with slow, excruciating inventiveness. His victims suffer far beyond their brief mortal coil, as Thresh wreaks agony upon their souls, imprisoning them in his unholy lantern to torture for all eternity. Vex, the Glue Mist. In the black heart of the Shadow Isles, a lone yordle trudges through the spectral fog, content in its murky misery. With an endless supply of teen angst and a powerful shadow in tow, Vex lives in her own self-made slice of gloom, far from the revolting cheer of the normie world. Though she lacks ambition, she is quick to strike down color and happiness, stopping all would-be interlopers with her magical malaise. Vigo, the Ruined King. Once ruler of a long-lost kingdom, Vigo perished over 1,000 years ago when his attempt to bring back his wife from the dead triggered the magical catastrophe known as the Ruination. Transformed into a powerful unliving wraith, tortured by an obsessive longing for his centuries-dead queen, Vigo now stands as the Ruined King, controlling the deadly harrowings as he scours Runterra for anything that might one day restore her, and destroying all in his path as the black mist pours endlessly from his cruel, broken heart. Yorick, Shepherd of Souls. The last survivor of a long-forgotten religious order, Yorick is both blessed and cursed with power over the dead. Trapped on the Shadow Isles, his only companions are the rotting corpses and shrieking spirits that he gathers to him. Yorick's monstrous actions belie his noble purpose, to free his home from the curse of Ruination. Now we know the champions of the Shadow Isles, but what other entities might you find there? Many of the humble scribes and archivists of the Blessed Isles perished at their lecterns, unaware of the disaster that had just befallen them. This lost soul now fervently scratches descriptions of its torment on an endlessly unraveling parchment, and are known as the Eternal Scrivener. The most powerful specters retained much of their personality and desires even after the Ruination, becoming predatory spirits who may stalk the weak and vulnerable for all eternity. The Widow of Forgotten Songs was a collector of birds who tried to free them when disaster struck. She now wanders aimlessly, listening for the songs she can no longer recall. The Soul Shepherd seeks to keep weaker spirits safe from predatory specters. Any mortal who sets foot upon the Shadow Isles will attract the spirits of the fallen. While weaker spirits may only be able to manifest during a harrowing, more powerful entities can always do so, sometimes even venturing beyond the Shadow Isles. We know the champions and the entities you might find there, but what of the place, the Shadow Isles itself? While not much is known, we do have some images with slight descriptions. The radiance of alignments begins the journey to enlightenment. This image shows the Athenium of Light, wherein the litanies of the sentinels are graven on wall and floor. The Celestial Vault, unlocked by the revelations of the lunotropic hemisphere. The Sundered Vaults of Arcana, a confluence of dark magic. The Hall of Conjunction, through which all seekers must pass. The crater that was once a grand gallery of ancient artifacts at the hearts of the Shadow Isles. These two images show the library and the library keep. Helia, the capital of the Blessed Isles, was located on the coast. As a result, many parts of the city were flooded after the Ruination. We do have some images of the Blessed Isles before the Ruination. It was a hidden land from outsiders, but it was fertile, it was a port city, they had quite strong architecture, and we even have an image of the library before the Ruination. These are also some citizens that would have been present at the time. And so that's it for the Shadow Isles. I'm really interested to learn more about Vigo. I had no idea that he was the one that really created the Shadow Isles in a sense, trying to bring back his wife. He caused Ruination, literally all of this. So that's a really interesting character that I want to learn more about. I also like that it's not all bad. You know, you do have some characters trying to bring back the Blessed Isles. You have like Maokai and Yorick and Gwen. So I really like that it's not all kind of just a dark and gloomy place. You know, there's still a little bit of hope, you know, enough that we can really crush it. I really like the Soul Shepherds. You know, they seek and keep weaker spirits safe from predatory specters. I like that there's still a little bit of good. Like, it's not all just this dark and gloomy place that got destroyed and now everything is evil there. You know, there's still good in the Shadow Isles. So that's really cool to me. Honestly, one of the cooler zones, and I'm pretty excited to explore more about it. We'll definitely go through some of the related stories in later videos and explore the champions a lot more. If you have a recommendation for what zone to explore next in Runeterra, let me know in the comment section below. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.